Well, welcome to the Human Revolution Earth Air Theater. Today we're in the Star Trek corner. Um, First, I want to give out the blessings that I give towards God because I'm still healthy. I still have my children nearby where I can see them every day. I still am surviving. I still have what I need. But today I'm coming back to the miracle of my hummingbird, and I finally got something in the mail that I had ordered the last time that I made a video. And so, on purpose, because I was passing on to you that hummingbird I thought was a message from God, so it was about planting and feeding. And this is what I ordered. I guess it's turned around, but it says my seed seller. And I got it off of Etsy. And these ones are non-GMO, non-hybrid heirloom seeds. And it's called a survival seed bank. And it came with a lot of seeds. Now, the other reason I'm doing this is I will be posting this tomorrow for my 58th birthday. Yep, I've been here 58 years. And I guess while I am planting, and there's no way, it's December 17th. Tomorrow will be the 18th, or the day you might see this is on my birthday, December 18th, 2025. Yeah, thank you. Happy birthday, 58. I feel all right. And I'm hoping to impart some wisdom of what I've learned in my 58 years. I'm hoping to talk about what just is this week. I'm hoping to make this the human revolution something I can come back to every week and talk to other people that are just weirdos like me. I figured out that I'm slowing down in a lot of my physicality, no matter how hard I'm trying to keep myself in its best health. I'm getting older, and the years of Frida Kahlo, the years of hard work definitely does break down your body. So even if you're a hard-working youngster and you're keeping yourself healthy, yeah, you're gonna get older. You're not gonna feel as great. So, still, I like to be around people and share, and I thought this might be a new way to share with people. And coming to what I'm calling this video, the Thursday before the end of the world. I hope to see you every Thursday. But we got some things to talk about. First off, let me start off with got these little cups. They don't, because it's December, they don't have those biodegradable seed starter cups right now. Nobody had them. So I guess this is not a recommended thing, but since I was told to plant, I'm gonna plant. So I have 6, 7, 8 things I'm gonna try planting. I'll tell you what each thing is. So I put some dirt in that one, and I took out some that I like right off the bat, so I took those out because it don't matter what time of year it is right now. I'm just planting the seeds, and there wasn't any one of these seeds by this guide that told me I could plant in December, so we'll see. And this first one, banana peppers. I miss peppers. I lived in California most of my life, and you can grow peppers around year-round. Oregon, not so much. Portland, Doesn't matter. But, so the first thing that I hope to talk with everybody about is what a weekend. And, this is also for historical purposes. I want to talk about each week because we are definitely living in such a historical time. There's no way around it. This world... the last time I really felt a shift in the world, definitely, in that we, as a collective, especially as being Americans, was 9/11. And boy, did the world change in an instant, didn't it? And it felt like it. This is the next time. This last decade has just been an amazing journey. And I think me taking this spiritual journey as it is, and really have been isolating myself so I can get my thoughts together, I can figure out what it is I want to do. And I started bleeding. Check that out. That wasn't supposed to happen. I'm also learning how to edit, so maybe that'll get it edited out. But back to the historical. Just the feeling that I really do feel, and if there's other people that are out there that are feeling like me, that the frequency is changing, that the world really is changing. And whether you believe in a biblical, I was raised Christian, I still have all those values, although I do not call myself Christian. I do have a Christ centering, but I don't call myself Christian anymore. And that isn't not trying to align myself with the consciousness, God, one source, or that I really truly believe that Christ was the Son of God. But I don't believe in the godliness of a lot of people that call themselves Christian. And I don't mean to upset anybody by saying that, but I've been part of a lot of churches in my life, and I'm not waiting to be raptured. There's no way I think most of us can expect to be raptured. I think most of us spiritually have fallen down so much that we need to get back to that. And if we're going to be truly saved, I think that God has to see that spirituality, that hunger to come back and be part of humanity and to love people and to connect with people and become one. I don't know. You getting me? You understanding me? And even though this world is crazy weird right now, and every day just something worse than yesterday happens today, And just when you think you could take a breath, here comes the next horrible thing. So, history-wise, what are we talking about right now? The three big news items over the weekend was Bondi Beach in Australia, the Brown University shooting, and Rob Reiner. Now, Bondi Beach, depending on when you're seeing this and to try to see what week this was in history, two men who, at the moment of me doing this, it apparently was ISIS, which, historically wise, recently, ISIS apparently was decimated, nothing to be worried about. And then just a couple weeks ago, or I can't even keep track, a week ago maybe, there was an alert put out that ISIS was again becoming a problem, and I think it either from Israel or our intelligence had said here in the U.S., ISIS is becoming a problem. And then lo and behold, a father and a son, apparently associated with ISIS, opened fire on Jewish festivities the first day of Hanukkah on the infamous or famous Bondi Beach in Australia. Number one, lots of children, lots of people passed or shot. Number two, yes, a man jumped up on and was able, when he noticed a gunman reloading, took that opportunity to get a hold of that guy and get control of him, get his gun. And I think that man was shot in the arm and shot in the side. So, paid for his bravery, but boy, we like brave people. Another one that I had seen, another image that was horrible and understandable at the same time, is one of the gunmen was lying dead on the ground, and a man from the crowd came and kicked him in the head. And this is part of what I'm talking about, spirituality. I don't know who these men were. They were father and son, apparently. They had a lot of information, apparently, on them quite rapidly. The father and son, apparently with ideals that other people are okay to be targets, especially children. Oh, it just breaks my heart. But, yeah, that's what the word is. And I don't know what to believe and what not to believe, but the only thing I know for sure, and they're little ones and families that are completely ripped apart in Australia, and my heart goes out to you. The second one on my list here, Brown University. And I wish I could say something. Yeah, let's see what the next seed is. Cucumbers for pickling. Now, stop. I'm going to go back to Brown University. But pickling cucumbers, I have a distinct memory of my bunya. And my bunya was Russian, so we called her bunya. Sometimes bun, or American Russians, so babushka is not the word for American Russians, especially those from LA. We called her bun. But she had a pickling barrel, and I'm not talking about doing it in a jar or something in your kitchen. I'm talking, she put it down into the basement area. Old thing. And so at the time I saw it was in the 70s, and I knew it had to be at least turn of the century or an heirloom of hers, or even if it came through in her travels up through Mexico to LA. It had been on those journeys. But she took out these, and do you want to have a pickle, Dochka? Dochka's daughter in Russian. Of course I wanted a pickle. And she takes me down to this little, well, I mean, it was actually a pretty good sized barrel. And I'm expecting a big old dill pickle or something like I would get from the grocery store. But no, these are these tiny pickles. But when I saw this in the seed bank, I definitely is feeling my ancestry here. And I'm adopted. And no matter what, my bunya is my bunya, and I have no blood relationship. But she was my bunya. So this is traditional. And I'm hoping she's smiling down at me and helps these girls in December. Brown University. You know, that's a sad thing. If you're connecting with me and stuff, this is part of what I'm doing to connect and to go with the flow of thoughts. But Brown University is just going to become another school shooting. And they can't even find the gunman at this point. And we can talk all about that. I don't want to talk about that in history because some of these heads, I don't even think history should remember. But a lot of people will fight about gun control. A lot of people, they don't take away our weapons. But we have more weapons than Americans in this country. We don't need that many weapons. We don't need that many weapons. We don't need that many and that's more bullets. And that's just keep putting dead people's names, or just put your neighbors, your family members. Just put those names on the bullets, Over and over, our children keep getting shot, keep getting killed. And for what reasons? They're vast. You're looking at the outsider, or you're looking at the guy with the manifesto, or you're looking at a guy with certain political aspirations, or you're looking for the guy that's just trying to become famous. And we're going back and forth on whether it's the mentally ill or it's the there's so many arguments that they want to hold on to guns so hard. But don't you want to hold on to the babies harder? They keep dying. They keep getting killed. And here we get more stories again. More stories of traumatized students listening to the blood dripping out of the head wound of their fellow student onto a linoleum floor, You have 5-year-olds that have that memory. You got 19-year-olds that have that memory now, What we gotta do is something better. It's just not cutting it. We don't need this many guns. And you could fight, but we don't. Nobody's gonna take away all the guns. But can you deal with just one? Are you really that ready? That you really think that there's... I don't know how to even put that. There's so many evil people in this world. But I really, truly believe there's much better people that would never consider it or have it in their heart to ever do such a thing. And just at least if we keep it all down to one, they only have one gun to reload. And maybe we can go back to the bravery of that man down there in Bondi Beach, We'll stop them before they reload. I haven't seen a school shooting yet, no matter how many times people thump their chests and say, the only way we're going to make things safer if the teacher's packed. You have it in states that they can pack. And still not one school shooting has been stopped by somebody else being able to shoot them, a civilian, a teacher, a principal, the cafeteria worker. That's a paper tiger, And now just Brown University gets to join the list, and we won't even remember it 4 months, 3 months from now, because there'll be another one. Sometimes I'm not psychic. I am psychic, actually. But you can count on it, And that's horrible. There'll be another one in just, it could be next week. That's why this video is already called The Thursday Before the End of the World. And there we come to Rob. Now I'm the definite generation old. And I got to watch All in the Family. My dad was an unapologetic Archie Bunker. He was proud of how racist he was. At the same time, those are great memories when I watched All in the Family with them. And I think in later years, I couldn't watch it anymore because it did so remind me of my dad, but he wasn't the funny type. Since we're under new story, should be a new seed. Y'all, I'm about to turn 58. Thank you. Lima beans! Lima beans are good for so many things, especially in salads. But dips. Some people don't like lima beans, but I'm cool with lima beans. So I give them a shot. So Michael Stivic. Now, for the younger generations at this time, for talking history and stuff like that, which I actually am surprised about because I watch a lot of content on YouTube, and there's a lot of Gen Z, and a lot of them really didn't know who Rob Reiner was. And I can't imagine my 58 years on this world not being aware of who Rob Reiner was. You know, I can go to Carl Reiner days watching a lot of reruns of Dick Van Dyke and that sort of thing when I was a kid in the 70s. So the Reiners, you know, it's part of our Hollywood legacies. But if you know the movies like Stand By Me, which was such a coming of age film, which of course you gotta bet I have Wesley up there and stuff. So Will Wheaton, that was his very first movie, and of course him being on the Enterprise makes him, like I say, very important. But that movie, you know, with even River Phoenix and how short a time that we had River Phoenix with us. An incredible movie. When Harry Met Sally. Oh my God. When Harry Met Sally. There was nobody, at least my generation, but the younger generation doesn't even understand the phrase, I'll have what she's having. Senselessly killed him and his wife, stabbed to death, which apparently seems to be by their mentally and gone through addiction a few times, son. So mental health, where I was even talking about we can't give weapons, you know, gun, trying to do that legislation like that. It'll stop everything. It doesn't stop the mentally ill from killing. And so we got to get that, number one. And by all accounts, it seems like Rob and his wife had tried several times to get him help. And at this point, you know, he hasn't gone to trial. It's only been a couple days. And we don't know the whole story. But annihilators in your own family. That's another thing that's been on the rise, in this part of history is, there's a lot of families getting killed by their own member of their family. This is another thing I want to discuss, because spiritually, I think if we're going to come in closer, that we might be considered to be taken off this planet, and living a better life, we have to try to live a better life now. And dealing with mental illness in the family, I don't have the solution. I just know that prayer and taking a moment for yourself, self-care, because if that's one of the things you're dealing with in your family, and most will even tell you people have to hit rock bottom on their own, and a toxic person cut out of your life. But then there's the other side of what seemed like the Reiners were, is that they just didn't give up on him. And that's somewhere I can find the truth in, is it seems like he gave up on himself. And we gotta fix that amongst each other. It's gotta be more community and looking out for one another, and know when somebody's going through tough times and trying to talk, and maybe getting in their face and being more honest, or at least being sincere and loving and compassionate and trying to relate to them of knowing where they're coming from. But historically, this might also go down as the time that our leader, our president, just said some horrible, vile things, that he was killed because he had a hatred for Trump. And that's still one of these things I can't get over. And a lot of people keep believing in this man and believing in this man. And I am not trying to be political. I'm not. It's just he has led us to such a bad place where anger seems to be his payoff, and hate seems to be some kind of reward, and division between us is, he takes a knife to every day, Rob and his wife deserve to rest in peace, and they're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to. They were murdered by their son, and their souls are probably still walking that beautiful mansion that they had, filled with all those lights, I really pray, I hope that others like me, who, pray, or when you're at your altar, help them cross. I do not feel they've crossed. This is what I'm talking about. I hope that I'm connecting to other people, because there's spirituality that goes on, and we have to understand where we are in history. And that's just this weekend. That's just this weekend. And what I'm trying to prove here is that we got to start looking together for a future, Unfortunately, things are just going to get worse. Even right now, in the Pacific Northwest up here, there is so much flooding going on. There are entire valleys, towns in Washington underwater. They've been underwater for over a week. None of this is getting through to the mainstream news. You know, I watch news and content and movies and documentaries and religiously. You know, that's the one thing I'm religious with, you know. I'm always trying to expand what I know and what I see and different perspectives all the time, but now it's there only gets to be one focus. This period in time wants so much focus on just the division, hate, and politics of America that we're not paying attention to what is a lot of grief and horrible circumstances that people are at this moment living in, you know? And I think so many people are looking for the rapture and to be saved. It's because you see no way out, you know? It just keeps getting worse. And I want to help us repair our souls. We need to heal, because as long as there's still community and people that are connected, and it still might get worse, and it might, you know, what I have, even down to power, even down to a phone, everything is a disaster away, a paycheck away, an event away to not having what we have today. And I think more and more and more 2025 is going down. Like 2020 was the year from hell, right? 2025 is just gonna go down to that monumental shift in human history. The world is changing. It's angry. Mother Nature is angry. Everything is out of balance. Even down to the way people's attitudes are. You don't think that affects the environment? It is so out of balance. And she has to give birth to something else. Because this has to die. This has to go away. This path that we're on, there's no way around it. We all know it. It's end. It's death. But I believe more in Mother Nature. So this will be the last one. I've already talked too long, obviously. I just go on a rant. Kale. I'm glad I'm interested. I pulled out a handful of ones that I like, but the ones that I chose, it's interesting. Kale. I did need a lettuce, so. But I actually knew a young man. I used to work as a crossing guard for years. And there was a young man, I was friends with his mom, and she named him Kale. And yeah, they were a little bit hippie, a little bit stoner. You have to be a hippie stoner to name your kid Kale. Kale. I think she was Hawaiian or Samoan, so I think there's a little more meaning to the name than that. Oh, by the way, history-wise, I keep seeing a thing. I'm not sure about it, but Hawaii's gonna change their name. I'm afraid to see what it would be. But, yeah, I knew a kid named Kale. I'm gonna close out. There's been more weird things seen in the skies, and there's sounds. You know, here comes the weird part of what's living in this historical times, and because we have so many phones, and, you know, everybody's got a camera. Sounds and things in the sky, and now we all know, you know, even the government, they're aliens. But those are increasing. What surprises me, because they got that kind of technology. They haven't attacked. Which, there's got to be a bigger plan, right? They're not just visiting. And even all these governments, they're kind of bringing them up at congressional sessions, right? But why aren't we saying, okay, we got to get it together. There's got to be a plan because these people are here. We can't even allow black and brown people to live in this nation. I can't imagine we're going to have the grays hanging out with us too. You know, it's like acknowledging that something's really going on, but then just not like most things that are going on right now. There's no plans, nothing. Everything's chaos. And that's why I call this the Thursday before the end of the world. There's no controlling chaos. It has to be dominated. It has to be soothed. It has to... If all of us are thinking about chaos, but we're not coming in to hear the inner peace, then we're just going to become part of that, and there's nowhere else but an ending or death that could end that, you know? So start here. It's inside, and I'm gonna start planting, and more things will grow, and I'm gonna keep doing this. And if you want to hang out with me, it's here at the Human Revolution. I'm gonna attempt to be editing, so I hope it's better than just me rambling on. But then again, sometimes I don't figure it out. But if you like this, like it. And come back. And if you have questions or something to talk about that goes on during the week, we're gonna Thursday to Thursday so progress can be seen, and maybe people have some answers, or maybe people have some ways to cope. You know, maybe people can tell me, yeah, they get it. We're connecting, and we're going to feed each other. And I hope God has blessings in your life that you see every day. Happy birthday to me. 58. It keeps going.